Hello. Oh, well, there's my voice. Well, okay. Hey guys, and welcome to second take of episode 15 of Hanging on by a Thread podcast. It's a video podcast, obviously, about knitting, crochet, anything yarny that I do with my life during a week. My name is Silja, and you can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Silmoa. Everything I mention in this podcast, everything I managed to note down on review of this recording is mentioned in the description box below or and on my blog, which is byathreadblog.com. Okay, it's been a day. I had recorded this podcast earlier in the day, about 40 or 50 minutes worth of recording. Very happy with myself that I managed to do it. Downloaded it onto my computer, put the files into the editing software. Thought, that's strange. Changed the audio output hardware setting. Still no sound. Yeah, I recorded the entire episode without the microphone turned on. So yeah, I felt a bit like an idiot, to be sure, and pretty much felt like crying, but bit my lip. Because I also realized I would have to, if I did cry, I would have to, redo the whole face thing. And that's, once a week putting makeup on is enough for me these days. So, that was my day. Now I have had my dinner. Kids are home. And, yeah. I went downstairs to the studio again. I had a whole prettier setup earlier, but right now I'm like, I can't be bothered. I don't want to do it again. But a promise is a promise, and I did say every Saturday without fail is what I said last week. So then having the following week being a week with no episode would be very annoying, both to myself and to my loyal viewers, which, are in the tens now. Amazing. Thank you, by the way, for subscribing. It's very awesome that you do. If you haven't already, press subscribe, like, bell, all these things. Yeah, I'll repeat that at the very end of the... Oh, shut up, Silja. If the earlier recording was a bit rambling and maybe on the low end of energy, because it's been a pretty depressing week, now all of a sudden I am a little stressed, a little flustered, and yeah, let's see how this goes. Because I don't plan the content very specifically. I just know that, okay, I'm wearing this, I'm knitting on that, and let's see where I go from there. So let's start again. I'm talking about the finished object. The finished object, and there was a end of a thread poking out, which is my Granny Square pullover. Yay! I've been wearing it all day now, so it was fancier on my first recording because then it was freshly blocked and hadn't been worn, but now it's been worn in. I think I'm about to be interrupted. I think I am about to be interrupted by a 5-year-old boy. Let's see. He's not managed to be stopped. Yeah, I think there is a 5-year-old boy loitering around outside of that door right now. Daddy did his job. Can you hear them talking? I don't know. Okay. So, oh man, I finished this sweater. What to say? Yeah, wow, I am finding it really hard to pick the thread back up. But yeah. So, I did finish this week one project. It is the Granny Square Pullover, and it is not a pattern. It's out of my own head, just, you know, making 9 granny squares for the front, 9 for the back, picking up and doing some creative lengthening of the sides here, and working as sort of a neck and shoulder shaping with just double crochet stitches on the shoulders, and leaving an appropriately sized hole for a neckband to be picked up. 1 by 1 twisted rib I folded in and did a 3 needle bind off, so that I attached it to the I folded it over and attached it at the same time as I was binding it off into each stitch. Then I did some fudging around with the armhole opening and did another row of double crochet around the armhole and did some decreases so that I got an appropriate amount of stitches to pick up for the sleeves, which I do think that I could have done. I didn't do a good job with my decreases. I knit together or crocheted together every 4th and 5th stitch, when I think I should have done every 3rd and 4th. What was it? Yeah. So I started out with quite a lot of stitches on the sleeve, and then I did just decrease until I found it was a decent length and width, and I think the arms turned out okay. I think they definitely could be better, especially around the armpit area, because I feel like I'm getting some extra material here that didn't need to be there, basically. And as I've said on many other projects, I could do this, I could fix that, I could do it like this and that. Most likely is I won't, because I will be distracted by the next idea to do something new instead of fixing old stuff. That's just how it goes, I guess. Yeah. I did not waste all the recording from before, because I did a recording of me doing a little fancy showing off the sweater thing, so I'll cut that in here. And as you can see, it is crop length sweater, or it just about reaches the hip bones, and I've tried my best to make sure that the granny squares are at an even height, so the front panel and the back panel are at the same height and they match up. I've been going for like this kind of eclectic 70s look on the whole thing, like you should be able to pick it up at a thrift store, and yeah, I think it works. The granny squares are matching but mismatched, and I love that look. The sweater is worked up in Rauma Finull for the base color, and a mix of Rauma, Finull, Hillesvåg, Sølje, Hillesvåg, Vilje for the granny squares. The whole thing is made by, well, I used the crochet hook size 3.5 millimeters and the knitting needles as well, 3.5 millimeters. Yeah, all in all, I am pretty pleased with the result. And so that's what I'm wearing today. I can't, of course, recommend any, oh, where's the pattern and everything, because I made it myself. I'm very pleased with myself that I managed to make something from start to finish without any pattern. And I was thinking a bit about that this week, that it really is a lot of fun making stuff up for yourself and just letting yourself get inspired by other people and try to make the same thing yourself, or at least use the inspiration as a starting point and trying your own thing. I am not saying everybody has to be a pattern designer. I'm just saying it's a lot of fun to just wing it sometimes and just like, yeah, you could buy that pattern and follow the pattern. You could just also just look at the image and think, I bet I could just figure out how many stitches I need to cast on and do it, because I've done the similar garments many times before. And maybe if you're not looking at a pattern and following a pattern, just winging it and trying out different ways to shape it to fit your own body and following your own measurements will be easier, because you're like freed from the pattern itself, which is kind of what the experience I had with trying to make this for myself without looking up a pattern to get it from, and just using my own body as kind of the mannequin. And in that sense, I think it's nice to make the crochet as well in pieces. It was, yeah, I could just fit it in a different way. I don't know. Which, if you want to just knit it and like make it in one piece, no seaming and all these things, you have to be willing to do all the measuring, do the calculations and all these things. Like, for example, taking a starting point and in like the book I showed last time on how to do draft garments and patterns yourself. Not actually needing to write a pattern, but you just kind of have your numbers, your personal set of numbers, and then you know what, you're not going to get annoyed with like, oh, I want to knit this sweater but they're not doing my size or anything like that. Because I mean, if you want a raglan sweater, that's, you don't need to buy a pattern for that. You just pick the yarn you want, knit a sample, see how many stitches you get, and try to use these techniques to get the numbers you need to make that happen for your size. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a little bit of an adrenaline kick, and you know, knitting isn't exactly a pastime that people connect with adrenaline. But when you're trying something new and like the possibility of failure is looming over you, but you go for it anyways and try it, it can be recommended. You will unravel, you will fail, you will maybe cry a little bit, but if you persevere and you go at it again and again until it works, you're going to be so damn proud of yourself. Which is very cool. I think we need a sense of accomplishment. I think knitting gives me that. You know, when you finish something and it fits and it's or the person you made it for really appreciates it. It gives a sense of accomplishment and a sense of, which is something we all need to feel. So yeah, pretty chuffed with myself and the Granny Square cardigan. Otherwise this week I have continued work on my Kuutar pullover, which is top-down lace yoke by Sari Nordlund, which is a Finnish designer. She, not so long ago, ventured out on her own. What I mean by that? She is now working for herself and selling her own patterns, whereas before I think she was employed with a magazine or a yarn manufacturer or something like that. Very typical for a designer, a knitwear designer. But yeah, now she's free to publish whatever she wants, whenever she wants it. And I, for one, I'm totally supporting that. So I am almost complete with the yoke. And I am knitting mine in this gorgeous copper green, which is called Cobber Talk by Mildas Mikrofargeri. It is a grey blue yarn with some black speckles. So the inspirations are from old copper roofs around the town of Trondheim, which is where they're located and where I am coming to you from. I'm filming this in a small village just outside of Trondheim. So yeah, as far as I can, I try to source locally for my stuff, even if everything arrives by mail these days anyways. But yeah, I am very happy about how this is turning out. I think last time I was about here-ish on my lace. Gone a bit further. So, but yeah, since last week, basically I knit a sleeve and a half on this. I did a bit of chunk on the Couture. And beautiful green. Ah, so good. This is the second skein I'm on now, so I'm fairly confident, I wouldn't say that. I'm fairly confident that this will be enough. I have five in total skeins of that. So what do we think? Is it enough? Will it be enough? I hope so, because it's gorgeous. And the Kuutar has, after this yoke, it's plain stockinette until my desired length. I assume. Didn't read the pattern that far, but that's what we do with all. I might do some shaping to it, I think. And it also repeats a nice bit of lace around the wrists, which it's very cool. So yeah, gonna be working a bit more on this, I know, the coming week. And next up that I have on my needles is the Timothy sweater, which is, last week I talked about knitting something for my kids and whether or not I should knit for the baby or for the 5-year-old first. I ended up with the 5-year-old's sweater because he can ask me for stuff and he has opinions, and it honestly was a bit more interesting, the idea of the sweater than the baby stuff. Anyways, I've gotten this far on the main body, So I think I am almost halfway. I think I need a few more repeats and I will be halfway on until, when I say halfway on the body, I mean up until the armhole. So kids are fairly long usually in this body, but this Timothy sweater has this nice lattice work cable panel in the front, and it's just stocking it around. The Timothy sweater is this. So Emil's version is gonna be with the dark, with a dark blue-gray in the body part here, and on the sleeves he has asked for them to be green and blue. So these are the colors we picked out. So the sleeves then will have green and blue stripes. And as I mentioned last time, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna have to do some fancy intarsia things. Intarsias thing I have never tried. But no, I don't have to. It's knit in the round up until the armhole, then flat. And the same for the arms. It is a raglan decrease, but they're knitted separately and then sewn together. So that's going to be interesting. The pattern is published in a Rauma Garn booklet, which is the 2019 booklet Finull Barn 311. I have no idea if Rauma also publishes in English or German, but yeah, totally recommend it. If you're in Norway, you can probably get this booklet still in your local yarn shop. As always, if you want to buy the booklet, you have to buy at least 4 balls of yarn. But who doesn't need a couple of balls of Finull anyway? I am not knitting in Finull though. I am knitting it in the Sandnes garn SISU, which has the same meterage as Finull, but it is a superwash wool with a bit of nylon. So it's 80% wool and 20% nylon, superwash wool. It says to wash in a wool cycle, but it can be washed in 40 degrees, which is my whole point for using this yarn. I am tired of wrecking hand knits and non-superwash garments in the laundry, basically. And it's bad enough that I do it to my own garments, but with kids' clothes, it's even harder to keep track. And I just want to load the washer and press a button. I don't want to have to sort. I just want to wash it all in one go. So hopefully this will help me do that. And yeah, I'm motivated. It's knitting up quite quick. I didn't do much today because, yeah, this is the second time recording this. And but I did cast it on today's Friday. So I cast this on a Wednesday. And obviously I didn't knit on anything else than this 2 days, but it's not like I'm sat knitting all the time either. So it's kids clothes. It's great because it's like half the amount of needles that I wouldn't half the amount of stitches that I would need for an adult size garment. So mini clothes. It's nice. It feels fast, especially when you're used to knitting garments for yourself. and the stitch count is like 350, then all of a sudden under 200 stitches around is so fast. I'm knitting with a gauge of 26 stitches per 10 centimeter for this, which is the gauge called for in the pattern. So I'm just trusting that the measurements will turn out okay. I've held it up against the boy kind of like this and existing clothes, and I think it will work. I'll just make sure to make it long enough. What else can I say about this? Yeah, it's one of my favorite shades of blue-gray from Sandnes. I think Sandnes Garn is having very, they have a nice palette of colors. It might not be as big a palette as, for example, the Finull Garn palette is, but they are very well curated. So you have these nice, fresh, clear blue-green without it being too gaudy. It's not like in your face. I think they're just very nice and fresh and will suit children's clothes very nicely. Oh, I'm a bit nervous. I'm speaking and I feel like I'm running out of breath just speaking. I think it's the fact that it stressed me out to no end to have to do this again. Well, I not have to do it. It sounds like I don't want to do it, but that's not true. I do want to do it. It's just that I already did it once. And I'm running out of hours in the day. Who put this pressure on me? I did. Anyways, Timothy's sweater is coming along nicely. And yeah, I think I will knit on this again tonight. And yeah. Let's see what I pick up for next week again, because now I have only 2 working whips. I think I should pick up yeah, well, it's between the sky and the lapwing pullover, isn't it? So the lapwing needs to have a second sleeve cast on and knit, and the sky pullover, I need to finish the second sleeve and assemble and do the yoke, which is a colorwork yoke, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's just I'm still not feeling the twisted slip stitches things. Oh goodness. What else in my whip basket? I have my amigurumi that I cast on, had in a magic loop last week. Not too much work done on it. It's basically just this much. As you can see, this is the beginning of the top of the head of Vivi the bunny. Maybe you're gonna get some love tonight. Yeah, maybe. Because I had a parcel arrive this morning with more amigurumi stuff in. I had run out of, so I wasn't so motivated keeping on, like, completing the head when I had nothing to stuff it with. Now the stuffing is here, I can do that again. Oh. Okay guys, that is actually it for my works in progress. And since, yeah, one work in progress was a finished object today. That's great. There's a whole bunch of stuff, like, as I feared, it's gonna be a little shorter because I don't remember what I said in the first iteration of this. I know I have more footage than I do now. And I must have spoken about something. But since the sound is gone on those recordings, I have no idea what that was. Oh yeah, I did. So yeah, I had spent a bit of time at the very end of the previous recording talking about stuff that had inspired me during the week. As we do, as one does, I scroll Instagram and you find stuff you like and you tag them and you save them for later. So I did that. I know yesterday evening I discovered a new to me designer, which she had a ton of very interesting looking patterns, and I recommend you check her out. It's Life is Cozy on Instagram. On the top of my head, I don't know the name, but I particularly marked a design called City of the Sun as something I would like to knit. I'm going to try to place an image of it around here. And isn't it gorgeous? It's like there's some stripes going on, there's lots of nice texture, it has an easy relaxing fit, and I think that's something I might be able to do from out of stash. Let's see. I also know I would also like to recommend, that's what I meant, the hand knit patterns of Degen. So Lindsay from Degen, I've been following her on Instagram for years now, and she's a knitwear designer out of New York, and I've always wanted to buy her her clothes, and she has this kids line as well. It's adorable, and she is now doing hand knit patterns that she's selling. So like this one here, which is baby eyes. It would be awesome to make some. Look at those cute eyes, and she has the pullover and the vest design included in the same pattern. So definitely go give them a follow and keep an eye out for cool new designs. Yeah. Okay, now I'm just gonna wrap up and say thank you for watching. I'm sorry it was a bit of a weird episode, as I said. I was just so annoyed with myself and kind of lost the inspiration of talking for a bit. Hopefully, definitely, I will not do the same mistake next week again. And hopefully, spring will have sprung by then. I am looking out still on snow. It is snowing. It is, what day is today? Friday, 9 of April 2021. It is snowing. This is not okay. I do not want snow. I want spring. I need spring. Whew. Okay. Better wrap up before total chaos hits upstairs. I can hear the kid is probably having some Lego related crises, which I need to go fix. So, hope you enjoyed the episode. I'll hopefully see you next time. Leave me a comment below if you liked it, if you have any questions. I love to get some feedback. And yeah. Did I say no? That was previous. Did I say like, subscribe, notification? I don't remember if I did. Was that previous recording? Probably. Anyways, do that if you liked it. And I'll see you next time. Bye.